Welcome back, everybody. It is April 3rd, 2019, and this is episode 4 of What is on My Desk. So here we go, episode 4. So if you can't tell by my complexion or the drained look on my face, I am roughly 2.5 weeks into newborn twins. So life is a little hectic, not a lot of free time. Working on about three hours of sleep per night right now. So unfortunately things have been awash here at the workbench. But I still have a bit of progress to show you. I got some work done on the German kits before the twins came. So there's some work on those to show you. I bought another aftermarket set for the F82, getting everything collected for that project. So I've got some more stuff on the way, but I have one of the items here, so we'll go over that. I have a bit of a change on the setup here at the bench, so we'll go over some of the basic changes I made, and you can see what I pulled off on that. Relatively inexpensive, and turned out surprisingly better than I thought it would. So like I said, we'll go over that there in a couple of minutes, and yeah, so let's get into it. As always, my name is Sean, and this is Sean's Aviation. Okay, so I'm going to do something a little different here for the first segment of this video. I'm going to use my phone to record the new layout I have at the desk. I don't want to use the camera because I can keep the camera set up in its new position, and I can use this to show you what it looks like. So give me a sec here. I'm going to flip the camera around and I will show you what the new setup looks like. So here's the new setup at the desk. So you see I got 2 new lamps here. I picked up 2 new IKEA lamps, about 15 bucks or so at IKEA. So they're the standard kind of gooseneck looking lamp. If you recall from the previous, I think I have a picture of the desk, I'll throw it up here, but if you recall, I had a black gooseneck lamp on this side and a little gray lamp that's sat over here, set on a base with a little lamp. And I noticed that when I had that like that, I would have downward light on this side, kind of how it is set up now. Nice downward light here, but this side, it was sideways light. And I was getting some weird shadows. So when you're trying to work on the top surface or something, it was kind of hard to get good light. So this way it's nice because with the lamps on either side, you know, I can move whatever I need to do around to make sure I get good light. So it makes life really easy. And like I said, I can bring it over here. I can bring it in this way. I can bring it around this way. You know, that's the whole point of these lamps. So it gives me more freedom to get the exact lighting that I need. Also, it's a bit of a higher quality, surprisingly. The other one cost me like 20 bucks back in the day. This one's 15. And the kicker is this part here. On my old lamp, this was a plastic part. So there was a plastic mount that sat here with a hole. And then this piece here had the plastic shaft that fit into the hole. And then that's what allowed the lamp to rotate. And it had broke inside. So the end of the lamp would just pop off. So when you go to turn it, it would just kind of slide out and you'd end up with the lamp in your hand. And it was very difficult to rotate the lamp into the direction you wanted. So that was a nice upgrade with 2 lamps together. More importantly, it allowed me to recycle my old black lamp arm. I took the lamp end off and I mounted it up here. This is where my the breaker box for the house is. So I mounted it to the side of that the wooden frame. Pulled out the lamp, pulled out the wire, and I mounted my camera to the end of it. So we'll take a step back here, and you can get a good look at what that looks like. So now I get a nice straight down vertical video while I'm working. So the cool part is, on the end, it is just a little tiny $20 clamp that I found on Amazon. So this part here, as you can see, it just clamps on and off, and I just managed to clamp it to the end of the arm, so I still have the ability to move it. And then this part, which is kind of cool, I really can't do this with one-handed here. But anyways, if you loosen this off, if you loosen this piece off, it opens up this jawbone. This, focus. It opens up this, not jawbone, dog bone type deal. So there's a ball joint at this end. So ball joint at this end and a ball joint at this end. And this clamp tightens that bone down. So you loosen the clamp off, both ends articulate. And it articulates quite nicely. Yeah, so it gives me complete freedom. That camera can then be loosened up and basically spun around almost 360 degrees. So it gives me some freedom to, a few opening sequence of this was actually filmed with this camera setup. I just, you know, I just run the camera around here and I dropped it down like that. And I reset the camera, and you know, this is what I used to use. I used to have it sitting right here on the edge, kind of looking over the shoulder. So with this new setup, this is still able to kind of reach the exact same spot that I was using before, and I can just rejig the camera and make it work. So there we go. That's the new setup. So you can expect some easier videos. The next segment of this video will be filmed with the new overhead setup, so you can see what it all looks like. So in 3, 2, 1, new setup. So here you can see the view from the new overhead camera. So it's a little bit easier to see the workspace, easier to see what I'm actually working on. It still gives me the ability to zoom in nice and close. So you can actually see, you know, up close of what I'm working on. So it still gives you that ability, but you're not getting blocked by what I'm doing. My arms aren't in the way. So it's a little bit of a nicer setup here. So as I said, we will quickly, let's start with the new items for the F82, the aftermarket. So this is Edward's photoetch. If anybody's ever actually used photoetch before, it's a really easy way to add some detail to a kit. It's basically acid etched. This is brass, but you use a negative, so you have a film image, like a negative image, and you lay that, you coat this in a chemical, an acid, and then you use the photo a negative over the top of the image, and you blast it with light, and the acid reacts to light, and it starts to etch into the brass anywhere where it can see through the negative image. So in order to get a shape like this, you would basically, it's a two-step process. You would have the first step would etch, or I'm not sure which one they do first, but I'm assuming the first step would be to etch it partially to get the details. So you can see, for example, the instrument panels, the shiny part has been untouched and the dull part has been etched. So the first step, I'm assuming, I don't know exactly, I know the process, I don't know the exact order. My guess is the first step would be the partial etching to add all of the details and everything. And then the second step would be the etch that would go straight down through. I don't believe that would be punched. I believe that that would have been etched out completely. So first etch to the details, second etch takes right down through the brass, and you're left with the detailed parts. So this comes with a whole bunch of stuff. There's different instrument panels for different versions, cockpit floors, seat belts, side walls, there's landing gear bits, there's fuel caps, there's intake grilling for the sides, there's your instrument panels, you've got gear doors, there's a whole slew of details included in this stuff. There's some landing gear detailing work. Very interesting and very interesting piece. Some of these stuff also comes now pre-painted, and you can even get ones that are sticky back. Use peel and stick for like instrument panels and whatnot. So it's a bit of effort. You have to super glue, you need to fold, you need to band, you need to trim. Definitely not a beginning level product. You need to have a bit of experience in using it, but once you get the hang of it,
It's not that hard, and it adds a ton of detail. So I have 2 of those F82 kits I went over in a previous video with the last video, the radar pod I had. So one of the kits is going to be built sort of on a stand, wheels up, so you don't need a lot of detail. The second one I'm building will be open canopy, wheel down. So this is going to be the detailing for the second kit. So really cool. I'll go through here and show you what the instructions look like. Edward is a massive manufacturer out of the Czech Republic. They kind of cut their teeth with this photoetch product, and then they've moved on into, as I said, pre-painted photoetch, pre-sticky photoetch. They went into cockpit masking. They've moved into model kits themselves. They've moved into resin. They are a massive, massive conglomerate in the model making industry, and their products are amazing. So the instructions, as you can see, there isn't actually much to them. It's a very simple instruction booklet. But looking at the instructions, it shows you how to assemble everything. It shows you on the kit itself what you need to scrape away and replace with the photo etch bits. As you can see, there's the seats and the sidewalls and whatnot, and the different instrument panels for the different versions. And on the back, you've got cockpit floor details, canopies, tail wheel. There's the main gear doors, detailing the gear, and then some of the caps for the outside. So again, not much. It's a pretty basic set, but it gives you the detail you need. For some of these older kits, where there's not a lot of resin out there, this is really, in some cases, the only option you have in order to increase the detail level of a model. So, picked that up the other day off of Sprue Brothers, and you'll see that in action whenever I get around to building that kit. So, moving on, let's go into a bit of the usual status update on what my kits look like at the moment. So first up, the A8. So as you can see, it's effectively assembled. I've got the cowling glued on. I've got the cannon, the machine gun cover over the nose glued in place. The turtle deck is in place. The horizontal stabs are in place. The wings are glued on. Everything's been puttied and sanded and cleaned up as much as possible. A bit of a fit issue around the nose here. I'm not quite sure why that cowling didn't fit as good as I hoped. It's an interesting kit. As it had been to me, I thought it'd be a bit more tight with the Dora 9 having the massive gaps on the wings, and now with this, there are some gaps around where the cowling, you can kind of see in this range here, there's a bit of a gap along the bottom, and then around this corner. I'm going to use a bit of white glue to fill that in a little later on, and it's the same on the other side. Not as bad on this side, but you still see this little gap here, and then there's a step across the bottom. It's almost as if the cowling didn't want to line up properly with everything, but it wouldn't fit up in this area properly when it's lined up down here. So it's just a weird fit. I'm not quite sure what was going on there, but overall, I mean, it went together. It won't take much to clean that up, and we'll get it ready. So hopefully soon. My next step is going to be getting the canopies masked, get those on, get these wheel wells masked up, and then get a little bit of primer going on this thing, see what she looks like before I get paint. So yeah, moving right along. Definitely like the look of it. It's going together nice and easy, cleaned up well. I wish I had more free time to work on them, but it is what it is. So moving on to the Dora 9, you'll see it's in a very similar state to what the A8 looked like. I've got the wings glued on, everything's sanded, the horizontal stabs, everything's cleaned up along here, turtle deck's in place. I've got the machine gun cover over the front glued into place, everything's blended in nicely and cleaned up. Again, a shot of primer will help see how these seams look. I might need to do a bit more work in here, but I won't know until I get that coat of primer. Now the cowling, you'll notice I have left loose, and there's a reason for that, and it's because I've got the cowl flaps open, and I want the camo to come right up to this lip, nice and clean. So I'll put, I'll mask that edge with some masking tape, and then when it's painted, you'll see a nice sharp line in there. The issue is getting that line masked. It's almost impossible to get the masking tape out, and vice versa to get the inside of these cowl flaps masked and then assembled and taken apart cleanly at the end. Very difficult. So what my plan is mask the interior of this, mask the inside of this, mask the front of this, shoot the camo onto this, and once the camouflage is painted, I have that demarcation line along here figured out and sorted out and whatnot. I can then mount this and then just extend it across the front, and then finish the model, take all the masking off, and then one of the last steps will be to mount this back up. And then that gap there I'm not terribly worried about because it's a natural panel line between the two parts, so you would normally have a bit of a gap there. I can just kind of, a nice tight press fit like that, right, will hide that without making it look too bad. But then you're not going to have any nastiness and messiness inside this cowl flap area. So I'll do that at the end. So that's one of the few things. This is why kind of dry fitting and looking through your instructions as you build kind of helps, because you can figure this stuff out ahead of time and not in the middle of it all. But this one went together nice and well so far, other than those wing joints. This gun cover here had no issues, went on nice and tight. So some of the A8, my next step is going to be getting the canopies masked up, getting the wheel wells masked up, and that front cowling area masked up, and then I'll be ready to shoot some primer, check my seams, and get down to the camo painting. Third up, my TA152. As you'll see, again, not quite the same step. I've been working my way down the line. So you'll see I got the A8 kind of to a certain point, and then I got the D9 to a certain point. I haven't quite gotten that far with the TA152 before the craziness started. But fuselage is all nice and cleaned up. Turtle deck is glued into place. Canopy, cockpit's ready for canopies. The bottom side, again, I got seams cleaned up quite nicely. Still poking away at this wing root, especially at the front here, trying to blend all of this together nicely. It's taking a bit of work. I got a little bit more to go in there before it's ready. Once that's done, get the tail planes glued into place, get that front cowling all set up. I'm probably going to end up painting this cowling the same way I did the door 9. Mask off. I gotta mask the engine area off while I paint, so that's going to be a bit of a fun exercise, but we'll figure it out. Luckily, it's just mask up to here. None of this area gets painted, so it shouldn't be too hard. But we'll see how that goes. So yeah, it is plugging right along. And then last but not least, HE152. I've done, sorry, 162, HE162. I have done the least amount of work on this one. In reality, I think the only thing I've done to this since the last video, I got a bit of sanding done. I got the seams cleaned up, a bit of a rough sand, and I have polishing sand on it. Not quite perfect, but it's getting there. Again, coat of primer will show me where things stand. But I got the horizontal stab glued on, so that's my bonus. That's my progress on this guy. That's about it. As I said, not a lot of free time in the past couple of weeks to work away on these. So fair warning, my next video, my May update, may not be much better. I don't know how much time I'll get in the next month. I'm lucky that I have this kind of window. My oldest daughter is at her grandmother's having supper, and the twins are currently sleeping upstairs after the last feeding, so I had a bit of a window to come down here, and told the wife I was going to come down and clean up some garbage, which I will do, but I figured I'd get some of these videos polished out of the way now. I still got to spend the time at some point to put these all together to get these uploaded. But here we are. So, not a lot of free time. Don't know what the next video is going to be like, but that is the status of the model desk. So, hopefully you guys like this new vertical layout. One of the few things I'd still like to do is set up a. I'll check when I'm editing this how the sound sounds, but I'd like to possibly set up more of a mic system. Have a little mic on myself while I'm doing this, so I'm not worried about what kind of ambient sound is being picked up by this upper camera. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching, guys, and as always, if you are interested in any of the content you see, you can access my website at www.seans-aviation.com. You can see all the latest pictures of aircraft and museums and the build logs of all of my current models and past models on that site. And if you're interested in any of this content, please click the subscribe button here on YouTube to follow more. Thank you very much, and see you guys next time.